It's time for Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Now, here's Bart Scott and Dan Graca.
And welcome into another edition of Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca alongside Bart Scott once again. Not our normal studios, the virtual edition of the program. Bart, what's going on, my man? How are you?
I'm good. I'm just stuck in this box.
Stuck in the box like we all are. But you know what? We're trying to get out a little bit. But hey, safety comes first, as they say. Thanksgiving good? Time with the family? All was well?
Everything was good, man. Everything was good. And anytime you can spend time with the family, enjoy the kids, and kind of sit back and watch football, it's all good. So can't complain at all. Unfortunately for me, it's been a tradition of mine is being forced to watch the Lions ever since I was a kid. And they always let me down. But, when I get my dessert, I forget about it.
No, a lot of people, unfortunately, get stuck with the Lions on Thursday, and, we'll get to that a little bit later on in the program here. But as far as the Jets are concerned, another tough day at the office yesterday against the Miami Dolphins. They fall 20-3, and I guess the most disappointing thing as far as the game itself, apart from the outcome, was, last couple of weeks, you really saw this offense take some strides. They were productive. They were moving the ball up and down the field, putting the ball in the end zone. Now you have Sam Darnold making his return from the shoulder injury. You got the three starting wide receivers. They were finally together for the first time, but yet they had their struggles and still could only put a field goal on the board. So I think when you add it all together, probably left a lot to be desired there, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you want to be able to be effective in the red zone and also be effective on third down. And those are two areas in which they struggled in. A bright spot was the fact that Frank Gore showed a tremendous burst, and he averaged over 4.1 yards a carry. So that means that you were getting in favorable down and distances. Unfortunately, you just weren't able to cash in. Is really what you're measured about. Moving the ball up and down the field is one thing, but not being able to score in situational times, like, before the half, coming up empty there. Those are things that leave you, more to be desired. And you were expecting more because you were expecting that Sam Darnold will come back and kind of take that same momentum that, the receivers were on.
All right, let's get more on yesterday's matchup from Jets senior reporter Eric Allen and former Jet tight end Anthony Beck. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, fellas. The Jets dropped to 0-11 on the season with a 20-3 loss to the Dolphins at MetLife Stadium. Anthony, you are not going to win in the National Football League if you have 3 points in 60 minutes.
Yeah, listen, they had a couple opportunities with some turnovers in this game. I think the most crucial thing, you're down 10 points in the second half and your defense is able to get you 2 turnovers and you're not able to get any points. And missed field goals. And then, of course, not only did the Jets defense get the 2 turnovers, on the flip side, Sam Darnold threw 2 interceptions. So they kind of crossed each other out. And I think the biggest story, as good as the defense played, Fitzpatrick protected the football. And he made some really good throws, of course, offensively. You couldn't continue drives. It was really the catalyst for why this offense wasn't able to kind of catch any fire.
Are you encouraged by what you saw from the outside receivers again? Rashad Perriman, 4 catches, 79 yards. Denzel Mims, 4 catches, 67 yards.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, these guys are becoming consistent weapons now, regardless of who's playing quarterback. Perriman's obviously getting separation. As far as his catches, he had a nice 50-50 catch today. And, of course, Mims had his big catches, but I'm glad to see Sam and the offense looking down the field a little bit for him, and he could have easily had over 100 yards today with a couple pulls.
I thought the defense gave a winning effort overall, gave you a chance to win this ball game. Let's focus on a specific player on the interior, Quinn Williams. I know a lot of people would scoff at the notion that you would have a Pro Bowl player on a 0-11 team. I think Quinn Williams is a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, he's pretty much been like that the entire year. That's why his name is being recognized in the Pro Bowl consideration. He deserves it. He's played hard every week. He's shown up in the stat box, which honestly, let's be frank, in that position, it's hard to show up in the stat box throughout the season. He's done that. And overall, the defense with the 2 turnovers and, of course, 10 hits on the quarterback. They were able to get to Fitzpatrick 4 sacks, like you said. That should be enough to drum up your opportunities
Anthony, it's not going to get any easier next week because the Raiders are going to come here a nasty bunch.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's a team that I watched them against the Chiefs, and I thought that they were going to make a run as one of the better teams in the NFL, and they lay an egg in really an important game where they should have felt real good about where they stood in the playoff situation at 6-4. Listen, I don't know who's going to show up for the Raiders in this game. I would say this: the Jets have to come out and do their part. If they do, they're going to have a chance in the football game, but there's no guarantee that the Raiders are going to come out and shine.
Another tough loss for the New York Jets in an awfully difficult season. They are now 0-11.
Coming up on Inside the Jets, we'll talk to standout rookie left tackle Mekhi Becton, presented by EY, building a better working world. And welcome back to Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca alongside Bart Scott. It's time now for our player guest segment, presented by EY, building a better working world. And we're thrilled to be joined by Jets rookie standout left tackle Mekhi Becton, who's nice enough to give us some time here on the program. Mekhi, it's Dan Graca and Bart Scott here on Inside the Jets. Thanks for joining us. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I feel like you're looking up from the sky down on me, man. You trying to intimidate us by looking. Listen, we're not your opponent this week. You don't got to be giving us all that heat. There we go. At least it's a smile, man. Gentle giant. All good. Tell me this. How has your adjustment been to the NFL? Is it easier than you thought it was, or is it as expected?
I would say that's 50-50. Like some is easy, some is like what I expected. Sometimes it's just sometimes I catch myself like, wow, I didn't know I could do this. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, he got me right there. But yeah, I would say it's 50-50.
Now, early in the season, you've gone against some great pass rushers. Some are good, but they're good at different things. What have you learned about going against certain players, and who has been the total package? Usually some guys are good with, speed to power. Some guys are great with inside counter moves. Some guys are great with their hands. Who was the most difficult, and who was better than you expected them to be?
I would say the difference is like everybody use their hands a lot. So it's a lot of hand placement things where you got to know where to put your hands at and where to have your hands at. So I would say the hands, and I would say Melvin Ingram is probably the one that got the full package.
You talk about your hands and the importance of using those here. Certainly, if you're an offensive lineman, that's going to be critical. But in terms of technique, I remember talking to you a couple of weeks ago. Is that what you found to be the biggest adjustment from graduating from the college level to now in the NFL? It's refining your technique all the time?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's all about technique. Like if you don't have technique, you can't block anybody. So I mean, yeah, technique is definitely the most important thing, I would say.
Now, I know like before in college, because I was a victim of this as well, your arms and your hands are usually connected. But in the league, if you shoot your arms too quickly, you get your weight above your toes, they can get underneath your armpit, or they'll snatch that arm, or they'll do the cross chop. Have you started like being patient and trying to figure out that you get your arms on your target? And because of you're so tall, you can kick that back foot back so far. Are you able to be more patient because you don't feel like they can get back if you take your jump step there? They can't close the distance because your first step is so far back.
Yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, I learned more patience now because like I know that I have length that like a lot of people don't have. So I know if I can shoot my and fast and get my hands on them before they can get their hands on me, I know they can't get past me. So that's what I planned on doing. That's what I mostly do. So I mean that's my main focus. And then sometimes I like to fake it out too and like to shoot it to make them think I'm shooting it, but I'm really not. And I shoot my inside hand with it.
How do you feel right now, given the fact that, normally in a college season, the year is kind of winding down right now, unless you have a bowl game or whatnot, but you still got 5 weeks to go here in the NFL. How are you feeling physically in your first NFL season?
I mean, I'm still banged up, man, but I'm a little banged up, man, but that comes with it. I mean, I'm just playing through it at this point.
Yeah, the biggest growth you have is from your first year to your second year. You can talk to Quinn Williams about that because this has probably been the longest year of your life, especially during the midst of a pandemic, going straight from a college season to basically training for 4 months without being able to take a break and have to learn your diet and stuff like that. When this season is over, and I know it's hard to think about your plans after the season, while you're still in it, but how much better you think you can become, and what are you trying to focus on in the off season to implement to make sure that your second season is more dominant than your first?
I'm going to be working on more technique and hand placement things that I need to work on now. I mean, I feel like my hand placement can get better and my footwork. So I mean, I'm still going to keep working out with Duke Manyweather. So I'm going right back to him right after the season.
Welcome back to Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. And let's get more on yesterday's matchup from the voices of the green and white. Here's Bob Wischusen and Marty Lyons. Guys?
All right, thanks very much. Well, Marty, this is going to go down as one of, in a season of really frustrating performances, one of the most frustrating, I would think, for the Jet offense, simply because of the number of opportunities the defense gave them with takeaways in Dolphin territory, times where the Jets were able with Braden Mann to flip field position. And after the first drive of the game, the offense never got it going again. And I know you were kind of befuddled at times by the game plan overall and their lack of production.
It really was, Bob. It was a very simple game plan. They never executed it. You know, on first down, they always ran the ball. You could figure that one out. Never took a chance. When you had the 2 turnovers that the Jets defense created in the Dolphins, side of the field, they just went backwards. You know, you look at it, I think they had 11 possessions. They had the opening scoring drive, and then the rest were punt, 2 interceptions. Sam did not look sharp, and as a result, you fall to 0-11. Your defense played well enough to win, but you didn't play complimentary football, and as a result, you go back and you go, okay, we've got to prove to ourselves that we're able to win next week against a Vegas team coming in here. They're going to need the victory too, but this team just seems like they got to start believing in, you only got 5 weeks left.
Yeah, if there is one positive, though, not only did the Jet defense create some takeaways, but they got to the quarterback, which I'm sure had something to do with the takeaways. But we saw a more aggressive game plan from Greg Williams than we've seen in weeks past. They seemed to be much more aggressive with the blitz, and they got home. As you said, they were only averaging about, 1.2, 1.3 sacks per game. They got triple that in this game. So maybe there's some hope there for a Jet fan going forward that the defense could provide some fireworks and maybe continue to give the offense some opportunities.
Well, you know what? If you know Greg Williams like we know him, a lot of that is out of frustration. When he doesn't see the offense playing complimentary football, he's saying to himself, well, hell with it, man. Hell with it. I'm going to throw the kitchen sink, and that's what he did. Quinn Williams had an outstanding game. Bryce Hall, he's learning. He was up against Devontae Parker. He did his best. And the young players are starting to show that, there's a little bit of a spark. But no matter how much spark you have up, if you can't score on the offensive side of the ball, you're looking at this team that in the last 2 weeks, they averaged over 27 points per game. The first 8 games that they lost, it was a little under 12. Opening drive, you score 3. At the end of the game, you have 3 points on the board. That's pretty embarrassing for an NFL offense.
Yep, and it doesn't get any easier as the Jets will have a game, as you said, against the Raiders here at MetLife Stadium, and then back-to-back trips to the West Coast. So that'll do it for Marty and myself.
Coming up, we'll have more with Mekhi Becton right here on Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. And welcome back to Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. Dan Graca, Bart Scott, and we're talking with Jet rookie tackle Mekhi Becton. Now, Mekhi, you probably know this already, but, you're quite the internet sensation because of your prowess on the football field, of course, your pancake blocks, driving guys into the ground. It's become the stuff of legend already on social media. How much do you get a kick out of seeing that stuff?
I find it funny, but I just got to keep doing it so it can keep showing up.
Now, I tell you what, you got some crazy opponents come up. Are you looking forward to maybe Aaron Donald trying to come over there to your side and see what you got? Are you excited to those matchups? Because I know, being coming fresh from college, you got guys that you looked up to, guys that you become fans of, but now they're your opponent, and now you got to be the Grizzly Bear, and you can't be looking at them like fanboy.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that matchup. Can't wait for the opportunity.
Any predictions? we won't tell nobody.
Go.
What has this year taught you, though? In terms of, look, on field, the results aren't what anybody would want, of course, being 0-11 and such. But, it was a couple of years back at Louisville You guys didn't have a very good season, but yet you were able to turn it around the following year. You had yourself a good year. The team improved tremendously. Do you look back to times like that thinking that, okay, things are going to turn around here pretty soon as well?
Yeah, I look back to that situation. I look at it a different way, because when I was in that situation in my sophomore year, I didn't want to play. I didn't want to be around that losing situation, none of that. But now I just know I got to go out there and play every week and every day. So I look at the situation totally different now than I did back then. But I know this thing is I know it's going to turn around for sure.
Yeah, you're at the beginning of a cycle, right? So when you get into the league, you have your windows to win, and then sometimes they close and they open back up. Those who are fortunate to be in a long window like the Patriots were for a long time, but everybody experiences loss. You're at the beginning of building something, and you're one of the foundational pieces. You're saying that you're a fan of Jonathan Ogden. Well, Jonathan Ogden came to the league in '96. Him and Ray Lewis was the fundamental foundation pieces for the Ravens. They won a Super Bowl 4 years later. So it happens, and it can turn over early. But how important is it for you to set a standard of excellence for that offensive line? Because before you know it, you're going to get a C slapped on your chest, and you're going to go from being someone who follows people, like maybe Fant, to being the leader, and they're going to come to you for answers. So how are you ready for that responsibility? And what have you learned, and what will you take from that college experience to help you become a better leader?
I know I'm ready for that challenge and ready for that opportunity. I'm just going to take, I want to be the best. I want to be the best unit. I want to always have the best unit, the top 5 unit in everything, pass, run, everything. So that's just going to be my standard in the room, always.
Who are some of the guys on this team right now? Once you got in here in training camp and as you've worked your way through your rookie season, who are some of the guys that you've looked to in that room? Is it other offensive linemen that you've kind of maybe looked to follow their lead a little bit?
I would say Alex Lewis and George Fant. Those are the 2 guys I would say I look up to the most in that room. That I'm the closest with and that I'm with the most, I would say.
How about this rookie season for you? Look, when you're a rookie in the NFL, it's going to be difficult. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be adjustments. But factor in COVID, the pandemic, when you guys didn't have a normal offseason, you didn't get a chance to really meet in person with your teammates, the guys on that offensive line, until you got there in August. What has this whole experience been like for you just the last 3-4 months?
It's been crazy, but you got to learn how to adjust at the end of the day. So, that's how I took it. I just learned how to adjust.
You got some basketball in your background. We saw the clips of you in your high school days going out there and running the floor and attacking the paint. Are you the guy to beat right now in that locker room? Like, is there anybody on your team? Like, I remember talking to a couple of guys who play ball, like George Fant played basketball in college at Western Kentucky. You think you could take all these guys, your teammates, if you had to go one-on-one here?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm the best basketball player on the team as well. So,
you selling a lot of tickets, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Is there a lot of now? You guys probably haven't had a chance to play all that much, just with protocols and whatnot. But so, is there basketball trash talking going on and all with you guys in the locker room?
Yeah, me and George, we always going back and forth about basketball. We always going back and forth. So that's just our little thing we always do. Me and him always talking about basketball every day.
Well, who was your favorite basketball player growing up?
Shaq.
Shaq. I see. I was going to say LeBron, though, only because you're a younger guy. So basically LeBron's been an active player for the majority of your whole life. See, most guys your age, they're all LeBron guys. But I respect that. I respect the Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq.
So tell me this: what does success look like for you for the rest of this season, personally?
Coming out this thing healthy, I would say, and then hopefully win the Pro Bowl, make the Pro Bowl. That's what I would say success for me.
No doubt.
Well, you're leading the vote right now at the left tackle position in the AFC. So that's a good start. See that? The film doesn't lie. The game doesn't lie. Even though the team might not be doing as well as everybody would like, Mekhi, you're putting that performance out there on tape, and the fans across the country are taking notice of that. So continued success. Keep doing what you're doing. Certainly have a strong finish to this season. And we look forward to talking to you again real soon, man. Thanks for spending some time with us here on Inside the Jets.
Thanks for having me.
It's all the time we have for this week's show. He's Bart Scott. I'm Dan Graca. Thanks for joining us here on Inside the Jets, presented by EY, building a better working world. So long, everybody.